today I joined by Harsh, engineering manager at Google Cloud after over 15 years over startup and global companies like Uber, Geo and Cisco. Harsh, thank you for stepping
Thank
out
you.
of office with me.
Thank you, Sunita.
Before we talk about Google or cloud, tell me this, what does out of office literally look like for you? What do you do when you disconnect?
Yeah, I have two wonderful kids, Sunita. So I just like to spend a lot of time with my wonderful kids and my wonderful wife uh, to see them grow, into a wonderful human being. That's my pet passion project right now. It gives me a lot of joy to be around them and to teach them new things and get scolded by my little one. My younger girl is really passionate about scolding me. So yeah, it's my fun time. I think out of office is basically who you really are and what you are when the lights are off. So just being myself, enjoying some light music, enjoying quiet family time. That's what I like to do.
So, when the workday ends, what thought usually stay with you longest?
Well, that's a tricky question. In today's world, workday never ends. So you need to figure out, when you are working and when you're not working. It's very difficult to kind of switch off. In terms of when there is, because there are night calls, right? You have early morning calls sometimes. So workday is the concept of old fashioned workday is no longer there in today's world, but you need to find out what works best for you. um, and yes, it becomes trickier to switch off your thoughts, because uh, how it happens in tech, you are working on some problems which are not really solved right now, so to say.
Yeah.
So it becomes difficult to switch off. But in general, I will say, you need to find a quiet balance between what is your work and what is your personal life, and then you can kind of indulge in what you like to do and just be yourself.
Has the changed over the years?
So yeah, I think there's a stark difference pre-COVID and post-COVID. Pre-COVID, I guess, the boundaries were pretty. They were very, hard boundaries. Once you are out, out of the office, you're stuck in traffic, and once you are at home, you are at home, right? Uh, the or maybe it's the level of seniority which I was, but it was more of, hey, you're working in the office, you are 8 hours in the office, most of the time you are always going to office 5 days a week, right? So that has changed post covid. Post covid, I think my rigidness to work from home has also kind of reduced, and that also shows up how we are doing meetings, when the meetings are taken and so on and so forth. So definitely that has changed over the period of year. The acceptability of working from home as a concept has changed. uh, the distinction between, hey, what is work hour and what is not work hour, that has also changed here. I think what covid taught us is, hey, there are the nature of the job that we are in right now, especially in tech. um, you can do it very well from home. I guess when I joined, the concept of work from home was there, but it was, people were hesitant to use it. But when it was forced on them in covid, it was, kind of, it became a new normal. However, I do believe, work from office has their own perks as well. You could get better at collaboration. There are a lot of things which, if you know somebody who is sitting over there, and you can just reach out to them, and there is a personal connection as well, which becomes a little bit difficult when you are working offline. So I think both of us them has their merit, but yeah, COVID has kind of given us that space where you can work from home as well.
Let's start with the truth bomb.
Oh my god.
What's one thing about the tech industry and absolutely nobody talks about, but everyone feels?
So less folks who are, above 50 around, right? So that's, I think, That's something I'm also would like to find out.
So, Harsh, when you look back, how did your career really start? What pulled you into this field into the first place?
I don't think there is a single point, or there is a single event that has shaped. I think it's the multiple events which has happened one after another, which basically plays out in anyone's story. um, like, unlike MS Dhoni, right? I was not sitting at a railway station to see whether I will board that train or not. Thing is, it's for a student like me who was not very, I would say I was average, never topped the class. Uh, it's the hard work, and how life shapes out of with you. It's more about hard work, being honest to what you are doing, keep on doing that, and getting better at it. So don't worry about too much about, hey, you know what, this life choices will basically change my life. It's about taking choice, taking a decision, rather than you know how what choices has basically brought you to this point right now. So I would suggest, at least I was not afraid to take any decisions. um, for example, when I was moving from Cisco to Geo was just starting at that point of time. It was
Oh,
a big risk, uh, going from MNC to, so to say, a purely Indian company. But I was very excited with the vision, right? In hindsight, that is one decision which I really, see that uh, had a lot of impact in my life. Uh, Leaving my hometown Ahmedabad for Bangalore to do my masters in Triple IT Bangalore. Uh, who knows? I don't know. Maybe the life would have been different. But what I want to say is it's a decision that you take along the way. It's very difficult to pinpoint at one decision. If your life is series of decisions that you're taking.
every long career has difficult phases. What were some challenges you didn't expect when you were starting out, especially as your responsibilities grew?
My career, I'm still pretty young in career. I mean, it's like 14, 15 years of experience. I'm not that uh, experienced, so to say. But having said that, I would not say that there weren't any challenges. Along the way, there were a lot of challenges that we have faced. I mean, I think when I moved from tech to people management and basically an engineering manager role, uh, that was something I would say was quite challenging. Uh, Essentially, I was working with the folks who were there, and then you start managing them. Um, that transition was bit of humbling. I learned a lot of things, because when you are working with somebody as an IC, and the level of closeness, the level of openness is different, versus when you are a people manager. The level of openness is different. So you need to build that trust with your team. So even if you had a trust with your team as an IC, when you move to a managerial role, uh, something, the switch goes off. So you need to build that trust again. I think I was lucky enough to have a good team, uh, but building that trust was a bit of a challenge, I would say.
How did you usually deal with those moments?
There's no uh, format that this is how you deal, and I think everyone's experience is different in this, right? Everyone would have different experience to figure out. Uh, you learn, you relearn, you unlearn, right? That's the only thing you can do. Will you be making bad decisions? Yes, sure, obviously. I mean, but then how do you cope up with that? Would you be making those bad decisions again?
The bad decisions sometimes it will work for us also. So, like we can
Not
learn
sometimes,
from
I'll
them.
say, oh, every time when you make a bad decision, it's a learning
Learning
opportunity.
opportunity.
Got it perfectly right. I think unlearning what you have learned before, right? Keeping aside your ego, that's something.
So about leadership, people, and culture. So you have been startup culture and enterprise culture, big tech culture. What was the biggest shift in cultures as you moved from one environment to another?
Big companies are more structured in a way, how they want to, uh, let's say, do the uh, appraisal planning and other thing, or your planning is more structured. Where startup, your competitor is doing something, you have to do this, right? Or this is not scaling and it's costing us a lot of money, we have to scale it right now. So it also depends in which phase you are joining the company. uh, but startup is more unorganized. I think that it's very fun to work in. uh, Big techs are generally more organized. However, in the department that I have worked, they are also working as startup only. So, well, there is a good thing which big tech brings, which is planning, execution and other things, frameworks to uh, set for people growth and other thing. But we are still working as startup only. So things might change, things are fragile, things are kind of moving. There are a lot of moving pieces here and there, and that keeps me exciting. So even in big companies, I have never worked in you know kind of very stable setup where I
Correct.
we know what we are doing for next 2 3 4 years. I mean, in today's world it's very difficult to not focusing on competitor. It's what the customer needs. So empathy towards the customer in both big tech and uh, and in the startups as well. If you have the empathy towards customer, what your customer really wants, and are you building right product for your customer? If you are looking into that space, then it just uh, it so when you are looking at with a lens of empathy with your customer, your planning, long term planning might go here and there. So that's what I want
Correct.
to
They
say.
want to step into the market. Firstly, they're focusing on that roots and everything, right? A
Yes.
few leadership questions. So you build teams, hired people, and led across functional projects in real life. And beyond frameworks and the best practices, what actually makes an engineering team work well?
Yeah, that's a very good question, Sunita. I think I feel you can build a very good team when team trusts each other. India has a huge talent pool, so generally the team that you are working with, they are very good in what they are doing. That's why they are at certain place, right? I think it's the trust factor which keeps team motivated. When you communicate your vision clearly with the team, when you communicate what we are doing and why we are doing, build that trust where you give them some flexibility to fail and bounce back. Uh, that builds a very good and high performing team. In all the companies that I've been, I was lucky enough to have very super smart, super talented folks around me. And I think somewhere I was part of building that culture of trust between that team, and that have helped them deliver some of the amazing products.
We can talk about now career reality and all. So, what skills actually mattered in getting into companies like MNCs beyond what people prepare for?
We are in a very competitive world right now, and with the advent of AI, things are changing. So when I started my career, cloud was coming into big ways, right? So distributed computing and other things were a big skills to be there, skills to look out for. uh, but as and when things started, then you know data pipelines and data engineering was in focus. Spark, big data technologies were there, applications building, so it changes time to time. And I feel that for hiring or having a great candidate is who is worked on multiple things and kind of understand the basis of the technology. uh, Many times now folks focus on the abstraction layer more, and they lose the track of the fundamentals. So I think to be successful, uh, one should really focus on the fundamentals, because the other things you can really build on top of that. So I think the fundamentals, if you are stick to your core CS fundamentals, I think that is something uh, I really appreciate.
If people remember just one thing from this conversation, it should be this.
Yeah, I think be true to yourself and spend some time in making sure your basics are clear, right?
About student and early career segments. If you're a computer science student or NIT, IIT, and IIITB student, anyone is talking to a cloud infrastructure or engineering manager, and their questions usually fall into a few very natural buckets. So
Okay.
the question is for someone without industry experience at, what's the best way to build real world confidence?
Oh, I think if you are in computer science, you have your laptop and you can start working on any problem almost immediately, right? You don't need a lot of investment, and that's the beauty of computer science, right? Best of the companies are built out of garage, right? So uh, at least in context of CS or IT, right? I don't think uh, only if you have a good college you are kind of you are eligible to get into a good company. I think it's the project that you are doing that is very important. I remember very starkly that when we started our master's journey, there was a project which was called column database store, right? So I think that was a very pivotal moment in my life because I was not very good in coding, but when we started coding and we were coding in C, so you know uh, how memory works and what is exactly stack overflow. So these kind of questions comes with an hands-on experience. So I don't think, I mean, yes, definitely a good college and good teacher matters, but I don't think that if you're not from a uh, as they say tier one college, it hurts or impacts your resume a lot. Because if you put your effort in building a good project when you are in your school or your college, it will give you experience, and I think experience is something which will get you to the position that you want to be.
And what kind of work or practice actually stands out when you're reviewing profile or talking to the candidates?
I think debugging skills are really important. How have you failed in a project and how have you come out of that? That's the most important skill for me, obviously apart from the usual thing. But if you say what is differentiating thing is a person motivated enough to find out what their failure was and how they are coming out of that, right? That's how they have bounced back from a situation where they were put into the corner, and what were their thinking process, what are the actions that they took, uh, how they start to debug a problem, right? An issue in the code, uh, what were the steps taken to debug this. These are some of the things which I feel stands out for me. Because you cannot gamify it, so to say. uh, if you have not debugged anything, you have not debugged anything, right? So it's very difficult to get that by just looking at the videos, uh, unless and until you have that experience, right? As they have shown in a very good movie named Trasham, right? So you have not experienced it, you are bound to bluff about it, and after 10, 13, 14 years in industry, you figure out who is bluffing and who has actually worked on.
Like really students are required any cloud certification for updating their skills or get a job, is that required?
I think certifications are important, but they should not be the sole focus. As I said, right, it's good to get those certifications which looks shiny in your resume. But sometimes, especially in our part of the world, what we do, we just focus on the certification rather than are we learning anything from that or not. When I was in Cisco, I did my CCIE certification, uh, but I just did not focus on configuration part. I also tried to understand how protocols at a bit level used to work, and that has helped me when I moved my transition to the uh, core infra, where distributed algorithms are almost similar in terms of how uh, how we choose the leader in a distributed environment, and internet is the biggest distributed infra that we have right now. So I think you build on what you have learned. So I think if you code really deep into a protocol or a technology, you can build your next level, or you can easily correlate between multiple technologies that are there. So I think certifications are important because that gives you exposure to those kind of technologies which are there. But uh, while doing certification, it's not just the passing one of the exam, but going deep into the technology and understanding how it actually works.
So it's so many courses, roadmaps, and influencers out there. So how should someone decide what actually worth learning and what's just noise?
I mean, if you put me into a music course, right, I'm not going to be Mozart overnight. I like playing music, but it's do I have that, neck of being great at the music? So you need to figure out if you are liking that course or not. Good part of for students is they are exposed to a lot of materials that are there, and I think that's also bad part of growing up today. When we were growing up, we saw our seniors what they are doing, and let's say there are influencers who will come and say, okay, if you do this, you might earn xyz amount of
Correct.
money. That's a flashy part of that, right? Don't get persuaded by the flashy part of that. If you like what you are doing, then you will be always successful in your field. And success is not always measured by money. It's about how good you are at that thing. So don't get influenced by the flashy things. Put your hard work into you know tough things where actually you need to put your mind and your body and your all the hard work that you have to make sure that you succeed.
As a student, just starting out, how do I know if I actually on the right track, especially when progress feels how?
We start college at what, 17, 18, 19, right? That's the general age of the kids who go into courses, and their life kind of then decided on top of that. Especially if you're part of, if you're taking mechanical or versus computer science versus uh, electronics and whatever. And then I'm just talking about tech courses. There are number of tech non-tech courses as well.
Yeah.
um, as I said earlier, right, you build out on what you learn, right? So you choose something because sometimes you are forced into that, or sometimes you like to do that, right? Uh, my wife was class topper, but she still decided to go ahead and take up commerce because that's what was her calling. uh, I decided to do engineering because maybe uh, in my family everyone was engineer before me. So sometimes it's not in your hand, but then you, as I said, you build on top of that. Whatever is given to you, right? You make best use of it. If you don't like it, you kind of pivot at that point of time. As when I was studying my bachelor's, I did my electronics and communications. So I was a EC bachelor. But I always like operating system, and when you are learning EC, there is a course for embedded systems, at which goes deep into the operating system. So that with that uh, understanding, I came into triple ITB, and luckily I got a chance to switch between the streams. So I think that's what is more important, right? Finding your calling in whatever resources you are.
Complete career journey, and if you add your personal also, we'll love to hear from you.
To be honest, my journey is what I mean. I'm not one in a million, right? I mean, thousands of folks have been there. I'm just lucky enough to be in a space where I get those opportunity, be in the part of India which is called as tech capital, right? So I just got the opportunity at right time. Um, Coming from Ahmedabad to Bangalore was a decision that I took. So you need to take decisions and quickly assess if the decision is right for you or not. If you are afraid to make decision, if you are very rigid in what you are doing, and rigid if your surrounding will change and how it will affect you, then that's the thing that one should uh, uh, not focus on. But to be honest, I I come from a very privileged background. you know with a good schooling, and being in that part of the Ahmedabad, which is, I mean, which is okay, right? I mean, uh, there's no struggle stories over here if you look into that. But yeah, I come from a very uh, so my very intelligent family, and always inspired by the woman in my life, be it my mother, my grandmother, my wife. Uh, Always we were. I've seen my all the women in my life they've been very hardworking, and contrary to what we see in what we hear about old India, all of these ladies were also self. They were very independent, right? They were very driven. My grandmother was a principal in a school. My mother had spent. She retired as a manager in a nationalized bank. So I've seen their struggle, and their struggle is just what motivates me. Um, because what effort or what you have lost out as your kid, right? At certain point of time, because of the transferable nature of the job for my mother, she used to travel 2 hours one way, uh, you know to go to her job, and then you have nothing but respect for that. Um, and that what keeps me motivated, keeps me going, because whenever I feel low, right, I feel that okay, if mom can do it 20 years ago, then so can I. So that's the part of the journey that I will always remember. Blessing of the elders, blessing of the family members. um, it's not me, right? It's their effort that has helped me to come to this place.
And let's talk about health and balance. So, walk us through a real weekday. When does your day start and when does it actually end?
So Sunita, I think nowadays once you have kid, or once anyone has kid, that their day basically starts with when their day starts, right? Yeah, I think it's almost same as what nearly all the Indian families or all the families staying in Bangalore are doing, right? It starts pretty early nowadays, because you have to get ready, you have to make sure your kids are ready. I like to, once they are after school or after the or whatever, that's a mm, me time that I and my wife have, right? So we like to spend some time, discuss a lot of things, you know uh, and that's a time which we spend together, as a couple. And I also like to at least have a peek into my calendar in the morning, so that I know what my day is going to look like, what are the commitments that are coming up, and how to be prepared for the day coming ahead. So I generally have a look into the calendar first, so that I'm mentally prepared that I'm doing this today. uh, Going a glance over your email and just figuring out what's important today and what is not important today. And obviously things will change over the course of the day, but having a mental map of your day really helps me. Yeah, with that you go with a fresh enthusiasm, and for each.
Like, how do you balance family, health, learning, and leadership?
I feel that everybody requires their own set of time or chunk of time, uh, in order to balance all of this stuff, right? You need to be sure you are uh, being you're giving that chunk of time to that particular part of your life. uh, Kids require time, family requires time, your work also requires time, and your colleagues with whom you're working at, they also require time. You need to understand them. You need to look into what is their strength and what are their weakness, and how you will grow that as well. So I think you need to make sure that which part of your body is hurting, or and then you need to focus on that part. And having said that, let's say if it is not hurting, you should still focus on that part, but your focus level of focus will be less, right? So there's no golden answer, or there is no silver bullet to bite over here. It's how life gets you there, right?
So, we have a few rapid questions.
Okay.
One word for Harsh career so far.
Yeah, good.
So, one thing tech gets wrong about success.
It's a peace of mind, maybe, I don't know.
One habit that protects Harsh health.
I would like to be more disciplined in that, but I don't have that habit.
Coffee, silence, or a walk after work.
Coffee.
Startup or big tech today?
As I said, right, there is the boundaries have been merged. If you are working in a very high productive team, you are moving very fast. Today, it does not really make a difference. But in general, if you are early in your career, that you would like to be a place where you get end to end
One skill Harsh believes every techie must build.
debugging.
One piece of advice that stayed with Harsh.
You are there to do your job, and I think company will not stop without you having that understanding, right? So
One or two words for your relationship with work today.
it's honest.
If Harsh weren't in tech today, what would Harsh be doing instead?
I appeared for SSB. I was cleared for that, but I was not able to sit in for Indian Air Force because of the specs. So PABT, I was not able to. I
So
was
do
not allowed to sit. Yeah, I seldom I talk with my wife that space में आज मैं होता मतलब if I would have been there, right? But that's jokes apart. I don't think uh, any other career would have suited me than tech.
if Harsh could tell 22 years old Harsh one thing, what would it be?
Care of your health and hair. Don't take advice from your friend on what is the best hair care
Friends
routine.
like
That's one thing I'll tell my 22 years old self.
So before we end, what one or two words would be leave the listener with?
Yes, I mean, I'll be very cocky over here. I'll say, stay hungry, stay foolish. Right? That should be your motto in life. Yeah, especially if you are starting in your career.
Thank you for such an honest and grounded conversation.
Thank you, Sunita.
Thanks for watching us. Thank you, Harsh. Thank you
Thank you.
so
Thank you,
much.
Sunita.